We made it.
Appreciate you guys coming out. This is actually like the last day the gym's open to the public. So we opened like February 4th, and then we're closing. Hey, this is also Mykl Beach. So today's our last day open to the public, just because like the growth of the supplement company. So kind of took over the gym, and after this we'll just have like open gyms and days that we're open, and community meet and greets like this. But we wanted to put on like a free powerlifting seminar for you guys, some social influencers and some good powerlifters. So like the way we're gonna run this today is from 12 to 4. The first like half hour is gonna be like a meet and greet, Q&A, you can just like talk, bullshit, workout, whatever you guys wanna do. And then we'll break into some nutrition talk with Paul. We'll do a little bit of like functional power with Matt Vincent, and then we'll break down the lifts in the squat, bench, and deadlift. So we have some really good instructors. We got Silent Mike, we got George Rosada, we got LS, we got Russ, we got Kyle Hunt, we got a lot of good people here. All right, so we'll break it down until around 3, and 3 to 4 we'll do kind of some more bullshitting, Q&A, lifting, shirtless pics, whatever you guys want to do, and then that'll be it. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and thanks for coming out. All right. There's also there's monsters. Monster was nice enough to drop off some monsters, some waters, and some Gatorades. And help you guys yourself. That's it.
Gonna take you down by the river, smell the gunpowder, hear the ghosts sing. Kids in the shadows drinking by the water, smoking and blowing them smoke rings. Gonna take you down to the river, you're gonna learn about the times, man. Bloodstains will make you shiver, you're gonna feel it in your spine, man. Used to walk down Santa Fe Street, had a quarter in my hand and a fake ID. Sip a little poison on the Mexican side, bones in the ground, singing off me. Now I walk down Santa Fe Bridge, lie low between the lanes, man. Nobody flinch you when the killing shots ring. These times ain't the same, man. Undertaker look like crows, red-eyed and dressed in black. Undertaker said there ain't no law, cross that river, you never come back. Gonna take you to the railroad bridge, gonna see men hanging like scarecrows. Noose tied on the violent side of the line, thrown over so the world knows. I'm gonna take you to the railroad bridge, so you have to look them in the eye. Calling a thread, sending you a message, blood spilling no matter what side. Undertaker look like crows, red-eyed and dressed in black. Undertaker said there ain't no law, cross that river, you never come back. Cross that river, you never come back.
Crows fly through the sister city street, weep for the lives of the lost ones. They cry, what a shame, what a pity, mouths fed to the crimes of a drug gun.
Go fly through the broken city and gather up the remains, man.
From there on out, you want to wait for the load to settle. A lot of people are quick to go out the rack. And if the bar is just bouncy, it's just kind of bouncing all around. And if you're pushing maximum amount of rate of weight, it's going to be bouncing, and you're, again, risk of injury. So here, wait for the load to settle. And then from here, I'm either going to take a 2-step or 3-step walkout. I personally prefer a 3-step walkout. It's a lot more just easier, and for beginners I typically recommend a 3-step walkout just because the first step is always going to be back, and that is going to allow you to clear the rack. The first step is going to be here. A lot of the times with a 2-step walkout, what happens is you step this way and you hit the rack. So the first step is always going to be back, you're clearing the rack, side, and then the last step is just shift to the side, and then you're just adjusting from here. So from there on out, once you take your 3-step walkout back, again, you want to wait for the load to settle. You want to make sure that you maintain that tightness. And this is where we come into stacking your joints, kind of creating that intra-abdominal pressure. Stacking your joints, you see a lot of people squat. And they come here, you walk it out, they're hyperextended, lumbar hyperextended. This is what kind of stacking your joints look like. You want to squeeze your glutes, bring your rib cage down, have your scapula over your rib cage over your hips. You see how much just stronger I look, how much more stable. So essentially what I'm trying to do there is, if a piano, it's as if I was trying to catch a piano. So if a piano was falling from the sky, what would be the position that I would get in? It's my strongest and more stable position. I'm trying to stabilize myself, especially when you're trying to move maximum amount of load. So from there on out, stack your joints, created that shelf, pulling the bar into me, I'm creating that stability. That's where you want to essentially create that intra-abdominal pressure. So intra-abdominal pressure, a lot of people tend to breathe through your chest. So what happens is they do this and lose all their tightness. Again, you want to create this 360 diaphragm. So it's essentially you're just pushing out through your obliques, like Chris Duffy says. So it's just here. You see how I'm pulling out this? Especially when you're wearing a weightlifting belt, you're just trying to push your lumbar back against the belt. So I'm here, it's not here, it's here, and then you're bracing. Again, a lot of people tend to crunch down. So they come here, and then they crunch down. Again, now we have thoracic flexion, and again, one of the key components of an efficient squat is being able to maintain that thoracic extension. You don't want to get thoracic flexion because what's going to happen if you do a low bar squatter, you're here, you crunch your abs down, again you get the spinal flexion, you're going to be tossed forward, you have long femurs, your hips are going to come up, your bar path is going to get out of alignment, and again you most likely are going to miss the lift or you're going to end up good morning the lift back up. So, 3-step walkout. Now I'm pulling the bar into me. And then from here, you can do it 2 ways. You can do either break at the hips and knees simultaneously, so it's kind of sitting straight down, or you can just, for beginners, I typically recommend just breaking at the hips, even if it's just slightly. Because a lot of times, if you break at the knees, if you're not a high bar squatter or an Olympic lifter, I mean, what's gonna happen is you're gonna come here. And that's, knee travel is not inherently bad. But again, if you have any knee issues or anything along that nature, it's probably a better idea to just kind of do low bar and kind of sit back. So when we talk about the descent, you should essentially, the speed of the descent should be as fast as you can while still being able to maintain position. Maintain that tightness throughout the entirety of the lift. Coming out the hole, you should essentially be pushing back against the bar. Again, cues are going to be relative. It's going to be different for everybody. If I cue you chest up, and now you're going into and you can't differentiate thoracic extension between lumbar extension, what's going to happen is you're going to go into full hyperextension. So you're going to come here, I'm going to tell you chest up, and then you're going to hyperextend. Opposed to me telling you maintain that neutral position here, and then just push back against the bar to stand back up. From there on out, as far as stance width, again, this is what feels comfortable. Everybody's gonna be different. Different hip anatomy, and everything along that nature. So as far as foot angle, just kind of let it fall where your hip angle falls. Let's see what else. I feel like that's, you got anything, Mike?
One that you probably have not touched before, you start getting nervous, you start getting out of your comfort zone, you start doing things that you normally wouldn't do. So make sure I'm calm, relaxed. I have a set routine that I go through. I can repeat it right now. So it's like, hand get right here, touch my chest, kind of like calm like my nerves down like that. Make sure I kind of feel out the right side of the bar. Come right here, visualize the squat. And then I just like get under the bar and start going through my routine. And that kind of calms me down. So like if I'm treating one, bar, the same way I would 650 or something like that, then everything becomes easier. You're able to go through what he was talking about. So it makes that portion easier. Because oftentimes, like you'll get powerlifters whenever it's time to go to me time, they start, like once you start maxing out and getting to heavy weight, you start getting nervous, you start getting scared. But it's like, just remember, go through your routine, relax yourself, and go through what you know that you do on a normal basis. So if you have a routine that you go through, just the bar, follow that through with heavy weight, and it's gonna make like lifting heavy like that much easier. Because lifting heavy is kind of like nerve-wracking. You're touching something that you never touched before. So like this goes through with squat, bench, and deadlift. Just make sure you have a routine that you're able to go through on a consistent basis, and that should calm your nerves whenever you're like trying to lift heavy weight.
Kyle Hunt. I'm a 74 kilogram USAPL powerlifter. So I weigh 163 pounds. I've bench pressed 405 pounds. So I guess that's why I was invited to talk about the bench press. So the bench press is one of the, if not the first, movements you learn in the gym. When you walk in, you jump on the bench. It's how it goes. Now, because of that, I think a lot of people get it in their head that it's a simple movement, and because everyone benches. But really, the difference between elite level benchers and just your average person who goes in the gym happens almost exclusively because of the setup. I mean, all right, not talking about strength. Strength being equal, someone with a really good setup is gonna way outperform someone with a poor setup. So we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about that. When you first get on the bench, if the first thing you think about is the bar, you're already going down the wrong path. It's how you're gonna set up on the bench before we even talk about the bar. We got Russell here, he's gonna demonstrate the setup for us. We'll just start at the bottom, we'll start with feet position. If you compete in the USAPL, and this is the biggest powerlifting organization in the USA right now, you need your feet flat. Now you don't need your feet flat if you're not competing in the USAPL. You can't have the toe position. But really when we're talking about feet, we're gonna be talking about leg drop. So a couple different things here if you want to just lay down. So you get your feet flat and underneath you. Notice how his heels are pretty much underneath his hamstrings. They're not way out in front. Way out in front. Or too excessively behind, now he can't keep his heel down. So you want a kind of neutral position here. You want to strip on your toes here. Yeah. If this is more comfortable, like I said, if you don't compete in USAPL and this is more comfortable, I don't personally have a problem with it. I know a lot of people actually prefer this, it's just more comfortable. However, if you ever think about competing in the USAPL, it's just a nightmare. Actually, this is how I used to bench press for years. And even when I first started powerlifting, I just benched on my toes. I actually didn't even really think about it that much. But then when I switched over to the USAPL, you need to have your feet flat. And it was like a completely different movement. Like it was crazy. Like you wouldn't even think that something so little as that would have a huge impact on your bench. But it took me probably about, I don't know, maybe 4 months to really feel comfortable with this. So if you ever have aspirations, the reason I'm talking about this is because if you ever have aspirations to compete in the USAPL, just bench with your feet flat. And actually, I actually personally think you get better leg drive that way. So you got the feet. You got your feet in a really good position. Next up, so it's retraction, compression. Retraction, compression. So you want to think about that while you're sitting on the bench before you even lay back. If you lay back and then start thinking about it, you're going to be rocking back and forth, it's going to be a problem. So if you get set beforehand, before you even get to the bench, you're in a good position. So get in that tight position, get super tight, and then lean back down. Now you'll see some people, they need to bring their feet up on the bench. You'll see this a lot, and they'll drive it. That really all this is to create that retraction and compression position. So you don't have to do that. However, I will say, it does help, especially if you're not used to really getting in that super tight position. Bringing your heels up, squeezing, it does help. It does help. It looks kind of ridiculous, but it helps. But like I said, if you can do it without that, it's not like it's required. So, got a feet set, shoulder blades retracted, press, lay down. Now we're in a position where the barbell comes into play. I want to talk about a couple different things specific to grip position. So this is a powerlifting seminar, so our main focus here is to lift the most amount of weight possible. Now, grip position is going to be a little bit subjective. Not everybody is going to have a stronger bench with a wider grip, but with a wider grip, you shorten the range of motion. There's a reason why you're not going to be able to close grip the same as your regular bench. Just think about that, extrapolated over the course of inches. So, I don't know, what's your lower bench?
It's about maybe figure out the height.
Yeah, it's about what I do. So, I would say that's probably standard for most people. You can go max grip, which you see a lot of people do. It's got pretty popular with powerlifting, which is your pointer finger has to be touching the ring. As long as it's touching, you're good. Again, it's just the wider you go, the shorter range of motion. Doesn't necessarily mean you're able to bench more, but that's the idea. So we get our grip position. Next up, wrist. Big mistake people make is letting the bar push the wrist. And there's a couple of reasons why that's not ideal. Most prominent is just when you're throwing a punch. If you're going to throw a punch, you want to keep your wrist straight. You don't want to bend it back. You lose power. Everything is straight line. Keep the wrist straight throughout the motion. Complete range of motion. Now, with the bar, it's pretty easy to do that. You put 400, 500 pounds on the bar. That's why wrist straps come into play and things like that. It's almost like just in your head. If you're thinking about it, you're going to be able to maintain it better than just.
If you bench 225 for the next decade, that sucks. If you bench 235 6 months from now, that's good, man. That's progress, and that's what we're here to do. So, building a routine, building on your past, building up to success. Deadlift's basic, like I said, we got a bunch of YouTubers, Instagrammers, all the information's been out there, but we'll kind of get basic and then maybe get into some more specific questions if you'd like. Deadlift, favorite exercise. Another common question, you choose one exercise to do the rest of your life. I think a lot of people would answer the deadlift. Using a lot of musculature, fairly technical, but still easy to progress and get good at. When you're setting up, we'll just go over conventional. There's kind of two styles, a sumo and conventional deadlift. I suggest that if you're new to deadlifts, or if you don't deadlift, that you should get into this. You should probably conventional for a couple years. Something of a hip hinge, I talked about it a little bit on the low bar, is a motor pattern that you need to know. You need to know to be healthy with your back. You need to know to lift things up. You need to know to be strong. I just think all humans, we spend all this time in school learning some basic math, but we got calculators. We don't learn our bodies. There's no fix to learn your body. There's no cheat code. We got to learn how to use our body. So learn how to hip hinge. So basics, walk up to the bar, build that routine. You can figure that out on your own. To start, we'll kind of chop our feet in half with the barbell when I'm looking down. Notice that it's your entire foot, not just the foot you see, if that makes sense. So if I'm looking down and I'm only focused on kind of my toes, that's cutting that in half is different than taking into account my heel. Hip width, that's a good place to start for your stance. Just feet underneath your hips. Typically, a narrower stance may be preferable down the road. You'll experiment, you'll figure it out as you learn. Jumping stance is another thing people talk about. So if you were to jump, try to dunk a ball. I'm gonna dunk on Nick Bear later. That's the stance I'm gonna use to deadlift, and that's the stance I'm gonna use to posterize. From there, simple thing we're gonna do, we're just gonna bend over at the hips. That's where that hip hinge comes into place. So the people on the side here have a good view. Hopefully you guys watch somebody on YouTube or this video later. But what we're trying to do is not just bend my chest forward. I wanna push my hips back. So that's a big difference. It sounds silly, but if this barbell is cutting my foot in half, I almost want it to cut my body in half. So chest forward is kind of like this. Hips back, it's a little bit more like this. Hopefully a visual. Oh, we'll turn sideways. What am I thinking? Barbells move, man. So for you guys, that's right. We'll figure it out. Don't crush my broken. It's the same idea, chest forward, not very good position. I need a hip hinge. So I want to push those hips back, straight down. From there, grip on a conventional is pretty basic too. We're just gonna go as close as we can without overlapping our knees. So I just like to go right on the outside of my hands. Just gonna do multiple things and we can get in details later, but it's just gonna allow us to lift more weight. From there, super simple. All these lifts, all we're trying to do is transfer power. From this case, exact words, kind of breathe, flex, try to get your body in a straight line. Think about kind of squishing a can. We want that can to just be there. We don't want to bend the can, we don't want to stomp the can, we don't want to twist the can. We just want that can to be there. It's really hard. We got a soda somewhere? Let me still have monster, my man. It's really hard to kind of break a can like this, right? Because it's a straight line, it's compact. We're trying to breathe like that. If I'm not gonna do it, there's soda in here, squish this, I could snap this thing super easy. Dude, analogies. You're welcome. Not bad. Not bad. So, gonna bend over. I'm gonna kind of find that midline, squeeze. Last piece of that squeeze is our lats. These little wing things that I'm trying to grow for the last 10 years. Couple ways to flex those things. We're gonna cover our armpit with our shoulder, pulling that bar into us. Some of our bodybuilders, lat pull down, doing that action. Pulling our shoulders over our armpits. Another piece is trying to get my elbows, twisting that bar. I missed it because it was jamming over there on the bench, but I bet they talked about it a little bit. I'm trying to get those elbows pointed behind my hips. So if you guys again can see, right now, shoulders exposed, lats aren't tight. I'm gonna pull these elbows, twist them back, flexing my lats, now cover my armpit with my shoulders, pull that bar into my body. Breathe, brace, flex the lats. Last piece, simple. Get our hips lower than our shoulders. That's it. Tons of minute details. We're all built so differently. But if you're people talk about neck position. As long as you're not too extreme either way. Probably don't want to be looking way up. Probably don't want to be looking way down. As long as it doesn't affect our back or how our hips move, probably going to be okay.
Take heed, we'll all bleed. Keep it running through your veins, man. Cross the dirty river and you never come back.